Presented by Wearable Fandom. Welcome to Wear Mighty Things. My name is Dustin, and I'm your host. This is a podcast all about the Roosevelt's brand and community. Fandom, fashion, and friends is what we're all about here at Wear Mighty Things. And if that sounds like fun, you came to the right place. Every time on Wear Mighty Things, I am joined all the way from Staten Island, New York, by my amazing co-host, John Madigan. What's good, John? Welcome back to the show.
Oh, what's good, my friend? Always glad to be back. Always happy to be here with you. And to get together, we can chat and do this little show of ours.
It is amazing. This show is available to you exclusively on YouTube. So to receive all of our content updates, please subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications of new content as it becomes available. In fact, John, we are on a push for subscribers. We're actually trying to break the 500 subscriber mark by San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming up in July. We're getting close, John, but we need people's help to succeed.
Yeah, guys, so please be sure to subscribe and ring the little notification bell so you get notified every time we, make a new video. But we really need all the subscribers we can, but we can totally crush that goal of ours. It would really mean a lot to us. And just keep subscribing. Please just share it with your friends and everybody. If you enjoy the show, if you love the show, please just share it on Facebook and your other social medias, and just let your family and your friends know. And just subscribe for us, please, because we really want to keep this thing going and get that 500 subscriber mark by San Diego Comic-Con. It would really mean a lot to us.
It would be huge. It would be huge. Thank you for that, John. And before we get too much further, though, I am very curious. What are you wearing, my friend?
So I thought it would be fun because I'm in a good mood today. I thought I'd throw this little baby on. This right here is a Mos Eisley performance hoodie.
Wow.
So, and you might be thinking to yourself, like, I've never seen a Mos Eisley performance hoodie available for purchase. And that's because it hasn't. This is a limited edition. A small run was printed up in gray and black for Mos Eisley and Roosevelt staff members to wear during the one in 2024.
Okay.
And in MegaCon Orlando. And there was an extra, and somebody in the Roosevelt team was very sweet and passed one to me. And yeah, really blessed to have it, and it's one of my favorites because I always get a couple of looks. But because I love Roosevelt's, I love Mos Eisley. I wish I could be going to Vegas May 4th to go to the regular Mos Eisley. So I'm in a good mood, so I figured I'd throw this one on because it's a good conversation piece. But what are you wearing today, my friend?
Well, the San Francisco Giants are doing amazing to start the season, so I've got my San Francisco Giants hat on, and I am wearing one of my favorite work shirts. This is True Lips. It's an understated shirt. It's definitely a Dustin shirt for sure. And it's got little stormtrooper heads on it. And it's one of my favorite Star Wars. I'm wearing this, in fact, as a signal of the upcoming Star Wars celebration, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes.
Absolutely. And that shirt was on our top 25 of 25. Is that correct?
Yes. This shirt is one of my favorites. It's easy to wear. And when people see it, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love that reaction.
When they finally get it, it's definitely a fun one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, last time we were talking all about our April Fool's ideas and thoughts about what we expected to have from the Roosevelts. John, I'm sorry to say that none of our ideas, not even the one-of-one tattoo, came through from the Roosevelts.
No Kunu condoms?
No Kunu condoms, no one-of-one Kraken tattoos. None of it, John. What's wrong with these people? What's wrong with these people?
I thought we had some great ideas, and I was really hoping that at least one of them would come true. But hey, sometimes you win some and sometimes you lose some. But I think it was still good that we gave our guesses, and I think we'll make that more of a tradition going forward, every April Fool's, to give our prediction, and hopefully we get something right. Hopefully one day we get something right. But I think you did, but speaking of getting things right there, Dustin, you did get one. It wasn't April Fool's, but you did get one thing right, though, something that we did talk about.
That's true. I predicted the price of the Big League Chew bag. And that was one of the things we were talking about last time. Like, what would the price of this be? Because that's the first bag that we've seen sold outside of BST. All of the other bags, the prototype bags, were sold second aftermarket. So this was the first time, and I think I said they were going to charge $85, and 85 was what it is. Considerably less than what you have to pay for BST to get a bag.
Yes, very much so. And there were some improvements made,
Yes.
some things that you had made reference to that you wanted to see change when an actual bag is sold. Because we said all these prototype bags were given out for various reasons. There was a couple of new additions and things that we saw. So with the new additions and stuff that we've seen, how do you feel about the bag being at this price point with the new additions and stuff that you've seen being added?
Yeah, I should add it's $89 is the official price on the website here.
You're close enough.
I call that a win, and I think
you price is right.
Yeah, I price is righted it. They did a lot of things very well here. There were a lot of improvements that they made to the pockets. I think the one thing that they still need to add is they've got to bring back that reflective pouch on the back. If adults are running around with this, and maybe they're like, we know our audience, it's going to be softball players who are playing in a league, a work league, or something along those lines. Maybe they don't think it's super important, but I do believe it's important to get that reflector on the back because it's just one little security feature that a lot of backpacks have. So yes, it's going to block and cover part of the design, but hey, Roosevelt's take that as a challenge. Take that little leather thing and turn it into something creative. Like make it useful, make it interesting. But I do believe that reflective diamond that's on the back of most backpacks is worth keeping for security reasons. If nothing else, it should come with the bag so that you can easily attach it to the bag if you need it. If you don't want it and you're an adult, then that's fine. But that was my vibe. All told, though, I thought it looked great. I did not buy one, but I was a little bit jealous. I was like, oh, do I want that? I'll be looking and waiting for my moment when the design that they want will come, and I'll end up paying for one of these.
Well, that brings the question, though. What would be a design, of a shirt that we've already seen before that you think would make for a good backpack?
Man. Geez, there's so
because
many.
That's going to be the thing going forward. I imagine this is not going to be the only design that we've seen on a shirt that we'll also see on a backpack. I imagine this going very far.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite design that you think would look pretty good on a?
Wow, it's such a hard question. I anticipate, and John's going to ask me that question, and I have a couple.
Do you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I try to anticipate, and maybe I don't have a great answer, but I have some answer. I would really like to see Samoa waves. I think that would be really cool. Yeah. I would love it if we got a bomb pops. A bomb pops might be good.
Oh, that would be really nice.
That would be really fun. I don't think I would really be moved by a Kraken. A Doors, like if we had a Doors,
that's what I was going to say. I would definitely buy a Doors backpack.
But here's one that no one else is going to say but me. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
A Spano backpack.
A Spano backpack.
Yes. A Spano backpack. That's it. I would buy a Spano backpack.
Hey, look, I would get it too. And speaking of which, did you just get your first Spano?
I did get a Spano. Yeah, I should have put that on Mannequin Skywalker. Yeah, Mannequin.
Oh my God.
He's rocking Steamboat Mickey and some shades, but I should have put the Spano on Mickey. Yeah, well, yeah, I got a Spano, and I'm really curious to check it out next time.
Hey, look, man, I'm really happy for you about that. Spano has definitely been a Roosevelt's cult classic now for a while, and it's definitely a sought after shirt, especially those who are big fans of the Saved by the Bell series. So I'm really happy for you to finally get one, man. That's definitely has been one that's always been on my list that I hope to score one day. So I'm really happy that you finally got one.
Thanks. Part of the reason why I got it is because of the lore. Just like the Jordan, there's so much story and history behind this. I'm thinking about making a video just about the Spano. So we'll have to see. We'll see how it goes.
Definitely, man. I think that's a great idea. And where can we catch your videos again in addition to Wearable Fandom?
Oh, you can catch my video. This video would be a Wearable Fandom video. So you can catch them right here where you're watching this podcast, Wearable Fandom. But John is prompting me to remind you guys and let you know about my travel channel, which is called the Fandom Traveler. And I'll be heading to Vegas. So I'll be posting up a couple of fun videos from Vegas this weekend. And of course, Star Wars Celebration is coming up really soon. We'll be doing coverage over there as well. Don't worry. We started a new series called What's Wearable, and the first episode was taken at Disney Springs. That video got posted today. We'll be doing What's Wearable from Star Wars celebrations. So you won't miss out on any of the great stuff that's available at the show, even if you can't make it all the way to Tokyo. So thank you, John, for prompting me to promote the Fandom Traveler. That's a brand new channel. By all means, throw a subscribe against the Fandom Traveler. Now,
when are we releasing the bloopers episode of Where Mighty Things?
I don't know, because I try not to keep them around, but we should. I think people would like watching us fumble over our words, and we're not always blah, 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 blah. I mean, it just happens. I'm sure everybody has this.
Sure, of course, but I think it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. Now, there was a lot of big news this week, John. Roosevelt has a new CEO, which was a big surprise to me. It's pretty crazy.
That came out of nowhere.
Yes. They hired Justin Sonfield, who's the former CEO at Jonathan Adler. Are you familiar with Jonathan Adler, the furniture and housewares shop online?
So it was a name that I had heard of before. Like I certainly had heard the name. I wasn't familiar with it though, in sense of like I've never purchased anything from them. Not for any reason other than I'm probably not in the tax bracket to buy anything from them. But it does seem to be that they make some really cool and amazing stuff. But yeah, I was familiar with the name, just wasn't so familiar with the company and everything that they offered. Did a little bit more of a deep dive now learning this information, but it does seem like a very interesting store for sure. Was this something that you were familiar with? Are you familiar with Jonathan Adler?
A little bit, because when we were first moving into this apartment and we were looking for stuff, we shopped a lot of places. And so remember, if we bought anything at Jonathan Adler, I had sort of a similar reaction to you. It's like, oh, this is good, modern looking stuff. But I don't remember that we specifically bought anything. That said, it doesn't matter, because Justin came from Jonathan Adler, exiting by acquisition, if I recall correctly, from his LinkedIn profile. And so he sold the company and then became a free agent. And now he's going to be helping drive Roosevelt's, which is really great for the team, really great for the prospects of the growth of the company. And it's going to be exciting to see him maybe at some of these shows or events. I don't know. Maybe he's not going to be that kind of a CEO. Sometimes CEOs are heads down and they're just all about driving, and they let other people sort of be the face. And, of course, Steve was not like that. Steve was really out in front and a big member of the community. I will say that, we found out that Justin has his fandom bona fides, though. He's a self-described Disney adult. He's also got a significant role in the 501st, correct?
Yes, he is the Legion Command. He's part of the Legion Command. See, bloopers. He is the Legion Commanding Officer of the 501st.
That's crazy.
I don't know exactly what that means, to be honest with you.
But it just sounds... He whistles and a bunch of stormtroopers come and start blasting.
That's pretty cool. That's actually kind of, I'd like that power.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, that's pretty cool though. But definitely really excited. I hope I get to meet Justin at some point. A lot of the Roosevelt staff typically, will come at least a day or two to a lot of the conventions and events that are happening around. So I do hope I get to meet Mr. Sonfield at some point. He seems like a cool dude, and who knows, maybe one day he'll come on the podcast. You never know. I mean, would love to talk to him and hear about, his goals and his things that, he wants to do for the Roosevelts and where he sees taking this company to another level. Yeah. But I can definitely say we, over here, Wearable Fandom, we definitely wish him all the best. And we hope to see him succeed and take this company to new heights.
Yeah, exactly. And bring us new things. Maybe we'll get Roosevelt's furniture.
So who knows? Dude, that would be insane. That would be really cool, actually. What kind of Roosevelt's furniture can we get?
It would be interesting to see what do they come up with.
Like a Kraken chair?
No. Well, think about it like this. Think about like a beanbag, right? You could do printing on a cloth beanbag with those little micro beads. So you could take a cool design and throw it on there, like any of these little things designs that dropped earlier today, or sirens or Kraken or whatever you want. Just make beanbags. You could do that kind of a thing. That would be fun.
That would be fun. Definitely really interesting to see what he does with this thing. But yeah, definitely news totally out of left field. But really happy for Roosevelt's and the company and for Justin, and we wish them all the best, and we can't wait to see what they do with this stuff.
Now, we also know that we're starting to head into the prime convention season, right? Once we get to April, it starts really going. MegaCon always wants to be one of the first. It's not the first. Usually I think New Orleans is before MegaCon.
Correct.
But MegaCon is the first big one. I mean, it's one of the the top 4 shows in North America. So as much as New Orleans is first, MegaCon is the first significant attendance. And then, it goes to Comic-Con and Toronto. Actually, Fan Expo is on that list as well. C2E2 is coming up this weekend, and we got to see a look at the field notes for what they're going to be doing while they're in Chicago. We've also got a big event coming up very soon next week. We will not have a recording during that week, but Star Wars Celebration is coming up. Now I'll be attending that. I made plans and figured out how to actually get there. So I'll be attending and doing coverage. I'm disappointed you won't be there. We can't do a live podcast, but maybe I'll grab Scotty and get him to kind of sub in for you. Only temporarily though, John. Only temporarily.
Hey, look, Scotty is an amazing guy. And I would be more than happy if there was a member of HQ that I'd be happy to come on and be me. It would be Mr. Scotty Joyce. I love that man to pieces, and I think it'd be really cool if you got him to come on the podcast. Hopefully, he can come in at least for a few minutes to come and talk and do a segment. And Scotty's good people, man.
Yeah.
But does he know though? Does Scotty know?
Does Scotty know that we're going?
Does he know that Scotty doesn't know?
Oh.
Want to redo that?
Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know. Dustin didn't know. Dustin caught up
didn't get
slow.
The joke.
Dustin caught up slow, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, he doesn't know, but he will find out when he finds out. Just out of curiosity, we saw 3 new exclusives. There was a One Piece, I'm Gonna Become Red. There was a new Floral City, Chicago, with stars in it, in addition to it, that being that Series 3. And then we had this Tech Acid Alien, which is actually a licensed Alien shirt. I don't think I've seen one of those before.
Correct.
From the Roosevelts.
Correct. I believe this is the first time that we have seen an Alien shirt from Roosevelt, so that's cool. New license, that Roosevelt's coming in. But I must say, I really like that floral a lot. I think those colors, at least to me, look really good. That is definitely a floral that I definitely would like to pick up. I'm not super crazy about the One Piece thing. It's just, I'm not an anime guy though, so with all due respect, I really don't know who this dude is. It's just not a thing for me, but I'm not knocking it for anybody else. But that's just not for me. But I honestly, the floral for me is definitely the winner, with the Tech Acid Alien shirt coming in second. What do you think? Is there any that you're going to try and pick up, Dustin? You're going to try and get someone to pick one up for you?
First of all, on that One Piece shirt, that is Monkey D. Luffy, my friend, and he's a very famous anime character. But now you can't say you don't know who he is. The floral, I know you don't care, but I just filling you in.
No, I wish Mr. Monkey the best. Good for him. I don't know, man. We got this dude here with the shirt open. He's got the short shorts, the red short, and he's got his sandals on. And what is that all around him? I'm trying to figure. Is that money?
That's the One Piece, right?
Is that Bitcoin?
No,
like
it is
Bitcoin.
Not Bitcoin. No.
That's a lot of Bitcoin, my friend.
That's a lot rich? Of Bitcoin. No,
that's a lot of. It's got the B on it. I don't know, man.
Well, that's fair. You might be right.
Maybe he's into Bitcoin.
Maybe he's a crypto bro.
Maybe he's in the shitcoin. Who knows, man?
Well, I mean, these things are related, right? The floral looks cool. They filled out the backfield with stars, and I think that's kind of neat. The pocket is still screwed up, so I will not be buying that floral, which means the top shirt for me is the weird ass Alien Tech. It says Tech Acid, but what you're looking at is kind of like a circuit board, and you've got the alien just kind of like chewing through it, or kind of like dissolving parts of it and coming through, which is kind of cool. In the close up, they say Weyland Vutani Corp, which is the actual corp that owns the Nostromo, which is in Aliens, the ship where everything happens. Alien, excuse me. So pretty cool that they kind of like have these nods. I don't feel like I'd wear that shirt a lot, but it's the best of this bunch. We don't know what's going to be released for Star Wars Celebration. However, something you don't know is that HQ put together a special Facebook group just for people who are going to Star Wars Celebration, insiders who are going to be in Tokyo for the event, so they can kind of keep in touch, and they can post messages and things like that just to that audience. So they'll be able to, hey, we're going to this bar. Hey, did you see this? That kind of a thing. I thought that was really cool. They didn't do that for D23 or any other big event, but But they set something up, and I guess it's a pretty big deal to take people. Maybe they've done this for London, but I don't know. All I know is I'm in that group, and nobody's posted anything yet, but it will likely increase in terms of activity soon enough.
Do we know how they found out that you would be going? Like, were you
Yeah.
invited, or how does?
Yeah. There is a chat that insiders have been in for quite a while, getting ready for the celebration. So it's just Star Wars Celebration Velts kind of thing. Like, so I don't know how you would pronounce it. Star Wars Celebration Scorsa
Well, you
Velts.
do your best.
You do your best, yeah. And I think somebody asked, or Scotty asked, or somebody from HQ asked and said, "Yeah, we got this group." Scotty joined. He's like, "I'm making this group. Join up," and away we go. So I think it's probably just going to be a temporary group for Tokyo, but that'll be how we get updates on family photos. And I think it's a really great idea because when you push things into chat, especially when it's a large number of people, you end up potentially getting chat flooded. And you can't keep up with the conversation, so you lose important instructions and events. This is what's going on in the cruise chat. I'm missing out. You're like, "Didn't you see that thing I posted?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was 65 messages ago." Yeah, you're right. Of course I didn't see that. But
it's my first one, Dustin.
Give
me a break. I'm trying.
I know it's not you. You're not spamming it. It's everybody else. It's not your fault, John. But the biggest reason why I think this is a great idea is because the time zone is going to be so different. So right now it's 6:00 here on the West Coast. I believe that puts it at 9 a.m. in Tokyo. So if they posted these directly into insiders, it's going to go through the overnights and no one's going to see them in the US, which is where the majority of people are. So by making this event, we can get updates throughout the day in that group. We can get notifications from that group. So I think it's a really great idea. I'll have to report back after the event and see how did it help out? Did it, make it easier for us to kind of stay engaged as a community?
Definitely excited to hear your thoughts on that. And believe me, dude, I'm a little jealous, man. I wish I was coming to Japan with you. It sounds like it's going to be an amazing time with amazing people, and I really wish I could check it out. But I am definitely looking forward to watching all your videos and hearing about it right here on this podcast, and seeing everything that you got to experience and seeing how it was and what the exclusives were like. And I'm really excited to hear your take on it, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll, of course, be reporting also from the Fandom Traveler. So most of the content will be on the Fandom Traveler site because it'll be about the event. One of the things that's super good about this is people make swag. I don't know if you know this, but like we love patches for the Denim Dans. I cannot tell you how many Star Wars Celebrations Tokyo patches that are custom made by individual people that they're giving to give out and to trade. And some of them are awesome. So I don't have much in the way of patches on my Denim Dan, but I am thinking about turning that into a Star Wars jacket, John, and actually like jamming it up and getting as many patches that I can from people, and then seeing how many of them I can get sewed on and enjoy those. So I'll share everything with you guys on the Fandom Traveler, and of course we'll see what my jacket looks like when I get all those patches on.
Dude, I can't wait to see that, man. That's going to be epic.
All right. Speaking of epic, oh my gosh, you hit the epic transition word, John. Perfecto. Mwah. Chef's kiss. The biggest news, which is not completely brand new news to us, but the biggest news dropped this week, and that is Roosevelt's finally available for stores in Disney, the parks, and Disney Springs. But not just that, 4 brand new exclusive retail exclusives for Disney, which actually, I gotta say, those were some really killer looking shirts. In fact, the Haunted Mansion shirt was great. All of them, they were amazing. John, what's your reaction to finding out that Disney finally has accepted Roosevelt's into their retail family?
So, first of all, so proud of Roosevelt. I mean, this right here is definitely an accomplishment to actually get into the parks. I cannot even imagine how hard of a task that must have been and how long they've been working on getting this done. So really good on them for being able to get this done. And I'm just really so happy and so proud of the team over there to be able to get this done. So great, such a great job. The shirts were killer. I don't know if you know this, or actually, but the shirts actually got pulled because they dropped a little too early. So the shirts were out, and then they got a bunch of insiders did buy some, but they did take the remaining stock and they did put them back. The date that we are hearing is April 14th. Will be the first official day to buy them, and that's the day that all of them will be on sale. all four shirts absolutely killer. My favorite, and I think is a favorite amongst everyone else, is the Tiki Room shirt. That is a killer shirt. I think they did a really, really, really good job with that one in particular. But all four shirts really good. I am very excited to see where this leads to and what other shirts we'll be getting. Do you have a favorite ride or favorite Disney event or whatnot that you think
Oh,
deserves a good shirt, or do you think we're getting a good shirt?
Space Mountain, baby. Oldest
Space Mountain?
ride, longest line. Woo! That's a Ric Flair thing. He would always say, "Don't get on Space Mountain, oldest ride, longest line." Yeah, so we definitely need Space Mountain. What else would I put in there?
Now,
There's so many
just
good
a
ones.
quick little trivia question for you. Can you tell me what ride in Magic Kingdom typically on average has the longest wait?
In the Magic Kingdom?
In the Magic Kingdom, yes. What ride typically has on average the longest wait? And the answer may surprise you.
Well, I think I'm going to bias it towards the beginning. And I'm going to say the longest is the Tron Light Cycle, because every time I've been there, that ride it's like an hour plus. So what, am I right?
Yeah. Well, and that might be a thing that's happening right now because Tron is such a new ride, so a lot of people want it. But I'm just talking overall in general. If you take like the past let's take a sample of 5 years at Disney. What is consistently have always had a long ride. Tron, of course, as a brand new ride, just like Guardians of the Galaxy and Epcot, how always has a long line. But this answer may surprise you. Peter Pan typically has the longest line
Wow.
because it has the least amount of carts to be able to be pushed through in a single hour.
What a fun
So
reason.
yeah, so the ride always maxes out. The demand is always so much more than what they have physically available to be able to go through in a single hour, that the line is typically around 45 minutes to an hour each time. So that's always, so Peter Pan always, it has somewhat of a long line, such a short ride. And I always enjoyed Peter Pan growing up. I always really, really, really enjoyed Peter Pan. How it just kind of takes you up. And like, that was like one of my first favorite, like, wow, Disney moments, like as a kid. So I always enjoyed the Peter Pan ride.
I would love it if they took the challenge of making a Space Mountain Tiki. And the reason why I think that would be so cool is because there's so much iconography in Space Mountain, and it would be interesting to see that told through a Tiki style, because it's like, you normally think if you're going to get a sci-fi ride, you're going to get a sci-fi shirt. But imagine if you put a Tiki spin on it. Like, it could actually be like a really cool, weird sort of design that's exactly the kind of stuff Roosevelt hits you with every now and again.
Yeah, I absolutely, that would definitely be a cool one. That is definitely one that I would pick up, and especially done as a tiki, that would be oh god, I would love to just see a Parks tiki in general. Like, that would be really, really, really cool. But I'm gonna hit you with this one because I think this would be a really cool shirt, and I hope they take it into consideration. Instead of a ride, I would love to see one based off the Main Street Electrical Parade.
Oh, great idea. Great idea. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's a
awesome.
lot
That's
that can be done there. That is one that I would definitely love to see. That would be like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know if that's too niche, for this. I don't know if they're going to try to go for rides first, but I think that would make for a great shirt.
I think it'd be great. You know what else would be great? The Hall of Presidents.
Really?
Welcome to the Hall of Presidents. It's a Bill and Ted's joke. Welcome to the Hall of Presidents. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny story. It was like my first, I think my second trip to Disney World. My father, who was not really the biggest Disney guy, he really didn't, he really, he was there for the rest of his family, essentially. He was there for us. He didn't care about the theme parks or Disney or rides or whatnot. But my father was a big history guy. He really enjoyed history. So the one thing he did want to do was the Hall of Presidents.
Oh.
Which, right, but you can imagine as, like a 10-year-old, that's not exactly the most exciting thing, for me. But we agree we're going to do the Hall of Presidents. And I actually fainted I actually fainted because I guess just due to dehydration, and we were outside in the sun all day waiting in lines, and then all of a sudden you go into this nice, cool, air conditioned room, and I guess I just wasn't hydrating properly, and so walk in and like the ride starts, and I just start to go, and we had to leave, and like my dad's like, it's the one thing I wanted to do, you know. My dad didn't care I was fainting. He was like, I want to do one thing, and we couldn't do it. You had to, you know. So
dads don't always have it together like that. So yeah,
no, they don't. No,
I don't remember. I don't think I ever passed out at Disney, but I definitely know what you mean about it being hot. Although when you grow up in that heat, you're able to endure it. And one of the really fun memories I have, which comes back to these Roosevelt shirts, I posted this in one of the chats. We would go into the tiki room whenever it would rain. So when I lived in Florida, we had a annual pass, and I had other friends, and basically we were teenagers, and our parents would drive us up there, and it was a good ride up there, but they would just drop us off and come back and get us in a bunch of hours. And we always ended up being near the tiki room when it would rain. So we would just dive into the tiki room and watch that show. And in Florida, it rarely rains for extended periods in the afternoon. It'll just be like a pulse of rain. And then they get you because you buy one of those ponchos, you've spent a bunch of money, and then the rain stops, and then we're done. So we would just dip in, and we would go into the Pirates of the Caribbean or the tiki room. We would wait out the rain, watch the show, and then we would come back out and get back to business. And that was a lot of fun. It's a really good memory of Disney World for me.
Did you grow up going to Disney World a lot as a kid?
A lot. I mean, you got to remember, like, I moved to Florida when I was 7 or 8 years old. So I was, in Cub Scouts and all of that stuff. And Cub Scouts, any organized trip, there was always an organized trip to get to Disney. So we went there with Cub Scouts. We went there, and one of the teacher work days where we had an extra day off, they would organize a school trip to take kids to Disney. Going to Disney was a very, very regular thing. And I think we went a lot. And it wouldn't be like the way that some of our friends go as Disney adults all the time. Nothing like that. But I would say it would not surprise me to say if I went on average in my time living there, something around 2 to 3 times a year, which feels like a lot for Disney. Some people only get to go to Disney one time in their whole life, but living close by, we were able to go pretty easily. And there was the annual pass thing. Then once you get to a certain age, you've got friends that work at Disney. I had lots of friends that worked at Disney. So you don't pay to get into Disney. I've said this maybe many times. You get older, you start trading things. Like, I work at a job and I've got a discount. You work at a job, you've got a discount. Get me into Disney free. I'll get you like discounts on these CDs or, this equipment that you want or something along those lines. So there's always that like kind of swapping thing. But Disney was, I didn't pay to get to Disney until I moved away. And now that I live in California, I have to pay to go to Disneyland, or if I come back to Magic Kingdom, I've got to pay now. I never feel like after a certain age, I'd been to Disney many times and not paid, many times and not paid. So you can understand the shock of having to pay for going to Disney. It's like,
I need a friend like that in my life.
It's just not a thing. You just go to Disney. Your friend meets you. You're like, hey, can you meet me at the gate? They let you in, and then they go in and hang out with you for 5 minutes, and then they leave, and like you just go do your thing. It's not even a case of where they wanted to necessarily hang out with you. They were just a facilitation. So yeah, very, very different than it is now, right?
I definitely wish I had a friend like that. That would be, to get you to Disney for free. I mean, my God. I mean,
yeah.
Dream.
Well, but you got to keep in mind, like, when you live that close to Disney, I don't know. This is really tricky because like Kevin and Emma and others that live really close by that love it and have that, I don't want to say label people Disney adults, but like have Disney adult energy, even if they would not self-describe that way.
I don't think that term Disney adult is like a derogatory term. I don't think there's anything wrong with being
No.
Our new CEO is a self-proclaimed Disney adult. Are you talking smack, fair. Dustin?
No. I'd rather people label themselves that than that I put that label on them, right? Because maybe they're not comfortable with what I have to say. My opinion doesn't matter. What they want is what I would prefer. I would prefer to reference them that way if that's how they would prefer. When you live in Orlando, staying away from tourist areas is kind of what you want to do. The tourists are irritation. Just like tourists in New York are an irritation to you guys. You don't want to go to Times Square. Tell me what New
This is
Yorker that
true.
doesn't work there wants to be in Times Square. If you grew up in
Oh, this
Orlando,
is true.
you don't want to be at Lake Buena Vista. You just know it's a bunch of rubbernecking, it's a bunch of screaming kids, and it's a bunch of tourists. So having friends that really do prefer to be in that environment and also live in Orlando is a very foreign thing to me. All my friends growing up avoided that place with a couple of key exceptions, and I'm going to save that for another episode of the podcast to talk about.
Ooh, well, now I'm intrigued.
Get you coming back for another episode. Congrats to Roosevelt's for making it into the park. Very excited to see where they take things from here. Now, you had a discovery that you shared on to the insiders where you saw a little Kunu vinyl toy. Tell us what you know about little Kunu toys, John.
I can tell you that I was told at Jacksonville about little Kunu vinyl toys, and we don't really know much. But I think it's safe to say that there will be some sort of chase variant. I feel like there has to be. I mean, we don't know this for sure, but that is kind of what these toys are kind of known for. Like they have the regular design, but then they also have the limited edition, just like we have with the pins right now. We have, the standard 1 of 100s, 1 of 200s, 1 of 500s, whatever. But then you also have the 1 of 1s, and then like with like the Steve pins, there was the 1 of 25 holographic ones. Roosevelt's really taps into like kind of like this collector's market, and I would be very shocked if there's some sort of chase variant of these toys. We know that this has definitely been in the works for quite a while though, and so I was watching the Deadpool teaser video that they posted earlier this week. It was the first time. I'm really excited for it. I'm definitely going to order one for myself. I think Pop Funko toys go for an average about $15 right now. From as far as I know, I'm not a Pop Funko collector, but I think for about $15 they go, per toy. I don't know how much these are going to go for, but I'm really excited to see what they will do. And I like it. I mean, I'll definitely pick one up from my desk. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'll pick one up. There was an interesting thought that I had. I'm trying to think of this old collection, Vinylmation. That's what I'm thinking of. Do you know the Vinylmation? Disney Vinylmation?
I do not know. Tell me more.
Okay, so Disney Vinylmation was basically a silhouette of Mickey, and they had like 1.5, 3, and 9-inch toys that they sold at the parks. And they did every possible thing that you can imagine with Vinylmation. When you look at these, you can pick any one you want. There's a bunch of small ones, but there's actually some tall ones. In fact, I remember the one Vinylmation that I had, John, was actually Gonzo from the Muppets. Okay,
really?
Imagine the Mickey silhouette of Vinylmation, but with Gonzo painted on it. It was kind of like a really cool sort of mashup thing, and I don't know if they're still making them. It's been a long time since I've seen these, but the Vinylmations with Mickey, that's what the little Kunu thing reminded me of. It actually made me think, oh, they could put any design on here if they wanted. If little Kunu was able to get a Vinylmation treatment, and we could see him with a Kraken paint job, or we could see him with a Bomb Pops paint job, or we could see him with a Steamboat Mickey paint job, right? We could see him a lot of different interesting ways, right? So I certainly thought that might be fun to see.
Yeah, these look really cool. Actually, I'm going through these right now. These look really, really, really nice. You said these are not a thing that you can still find in the park?
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't looked for them in a long time, but if you just search Vinylmation, you'll see lots and lots and lots.
Yeah.
There's one that they did even for the Orlando Magic, where they used Puff the Magic Dragon. He's the mascot for the Orlando Magic, and they put him on one of these things. So they just took the power of the Mickey silhouette, which was the whole point. Everybody knows this is Mickey Mouse, and then they just threw whatever they wanted on it that they thought would sell. Some of them were collectible, just like Funkos. So yeah,
that is so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. That is really cool. They are discontinued.
Probably ran out of juice, just like Beanie Babies, just like all of the.
Oh yeah.
Trends. Eventually, they all run out of juice, but I know people that still have these in their house. I do not. I wish I don't care. I don't have space for a lot of stuff. I shouldn't say. I wish I had more junk in my house. I don't need more junk.
I do want to bring this up real quick, just while on the topic of Mickey. This is going to be very quick. This is not going to be a long conversation. Have you heard of this new movie that just came out called Screamboat?
Yes. Didn't we talk about this on the cast?
Oh, did we talk about this? Okay, it just came out, and I'm like, it reignited.
I I
I'm like,
think
oh, like this looks like so cool.
you were talking about the fact that it was coming out, but it's basically taking advantage of the public domain for Steamboat Mickey, and they basically turned him into like a murderous rat, right, or something like that.
A murderous rat who lives underneath the Staten Island ferry.
Of course.
Of
Well,
course.
we'll have to go and find him next year when we do Staten Island Fest 2.
Yeah, baby. Yes. But I'm excited to see that. I'm like, I really want to see what they did with that.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes score on that? Is there one? Do they have a score
Oh,
yet?
good. Let's look that up. I'm sure it's not good. Screamboat Rotten Tomatoes. How long does it take to get a Rotten Tomatoes score? Is that is that something like it's got to be out for X amount of
Oh, I don't know. I don't. I think they start counting and then it just evolves over time as you get more and more ratings.
Got it. It's loading. Okay. So the tomato meter is 52%.
52.
But the popcorn meter is 78%. So I think 52%, the tomato meter is critics, but the popcorn meter is just like anyone who signs on and like the audience reviews, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
yeah, but 52% on the Rotten Tomato meter. So probably not the best movie we've seen, but I like the idea.
I just sent you my favorite review of the film.
I've never seen such a shitty movie. To be honest, it's such a fucking butchering shit. If I had to describe him in what I would say, Squirrel, one big failure. I hope whoever made this movie never makes a movie. Wow. Well, it must be bad. Okay. Interesting. Are you a guy that goes to the movies a lot?
I like to, yeah. If there's something good to watch, I definitely am down to go. You know, there hasn't really been a movie recently that got me to go. I did actually get a really cool thing happen yesterday, though. I was at a movie theater, not to see a movie, but my job actually rented out the movie theater, and we got to watch the first episode of season 2 of The Last of Us TV show.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah,
Good for you.
So we got to watch that. They made us put our phones, turn them off, and put them in little pouches and stuff like that. We had to seal them up, and they gave us the wanding. They wanted to make sure nobody could record anything. So, but I got to see the first episode and enjoyed that quite a bit. And I think probably by the time this podcast comes out, that the show will have aired. But good stuff. And so I was at a movie theater just yesterday. Now the downside was it was a little bit early, so they didn't have the concession stands open. I had like my heart set on getting some popcorn. Didn't get my popcorn, John. I was kind of bummed.
I'm sorry to hear that. But speaking about that, do you remember what happened to Mark Ruffalo in the theater it was either during Endgame or during the first Avengers, what is it, Infinity War?
I don't remember. What happened?
Okay, so this is really, really, really funny thing. So it's the premiere for Marvel's either Endgame or Infinity War. It's one of the two.
Okay.
And they wanted Mark Ruffalo from the movie theater to go live, like on Facebook Live. This when Facebook Live was like, everyone was doing Facebook Live. It was a big thing. Mm-hmm. So they had Mark Ruffalo, go on Facebook Live, like in the theater, like before the movie was coming on. And like they're about to have the premiere. And so he's talking to fans and whatnot. But then, the movie's about to come on. See you later, guys. But Mark didn't know how to shut off the Facebook Live. So he just put the phone in his pocket and it's still live. And the Facebook Live is on and the movie's playing now and you can't see anything. But now this is being broadcasted out to everybody.
Oh my gosh.
It went on for like 3 or 4 minutes. And then I guess somebody found out and realized that they had to go and get Mark Ruffalo. Like, hey, take your phone out of the pocket. This is how you end it.
Oh my gosh. That's great. I gotta find that. That's got to be archived somewhere on YouTube. I gotta find that.
Oh, I'm sure you can find that clip somewhere. But definitely so funny. Like, oh god, and I don't think that was a marketing stunt. I think that was a genuine thing. I think that was that seems funny though. Yeah.
Hollywood and the recording industry are full of gangsters. They're going to get their money. They want their money. So they would not allow that like a stunt. That would be a big blow. So. Yeah.
I did just go visit my first Alamo Drafthouse, though. Have you ever been to the Alamo?
I love the Alamo Draft. We have an Alamo here. I've been to the Alamo in Austin. We have an Alamo here, dude. They're awesome. They're really, really good experiences.
So we just got our first Alamo in Staten Island about a year ago. It's like we're a real town now, right? It's like
Or an island.
yeah, or an island. So we just got our first Alamo about a year ago. I had never stepped foot in it though. And what's really cool about this Alamo, you're gonna think this is like, okay, this is really New York. This is really Staten Island. So the Wu-Tang Clan actually was part of the funding for this Alamo Drafthouse. And so there's a bar, and I think every Alamo has like a bar. So ours is called the Guillotine, and it's fully decked out in Wu-Tang.
Oh,
And it
that's
was
cool.
and it was and it was fully and it's fully designed with kung fu movies.
Dude,
So
we
you
are
can
going
see
there for Staten Island Fest 2. I want to go there.
all the walls are decked out in these old school kung fu movie
No way.
posters
Oh my
all
gosh, that's
around.
cool. That's so
It's great,
cool.
but the bar is called the Guillotine, and it's fully decked out in Wu Tang. So I think it was RZA that had a whole thing about it, and it was pretty cool. But I went to go see the reason why I went, there was a movie that just came out called The Luckiest Man in America, and it's one of my favorite stories. I don't know if you ever heard of the story of Michael Larson, who went
No.
on Press Your Luck back in the 80s. Do you know what the game show is? Press Your Luck.
Yeah, I remember that. He figured it out,
Oh,
right?
yeah, so this guy Michael Larson sitting at home in the 80s, he loved get rich quick schemes. And so he set up all these tube TVs and he's just watching everything consistently, trying to find his next scam. And he's watching Press Your Luck, and he realizes that they only have 5 patterns to the board. So there's a board with 18 spots, and the lights go around the board, and what you stop on, you press the button, whatever it lands on, that's your prize. But there's a few spots on there that flash around, and it's a whammy. And if you get a whammy, you lose all your money. So Michael Larson realized that not only was there only five different patterns that the lights can go around in, but in all 5 patterns, there were 2 spots, the same 2 spots that never had a whammy in it. The 4 and the 8. So he realized all he had to do was just get on the show and memorize all 5 patterns, and that was it. And he can just keep going and take them all for what it's worth. So realize, Dustin, this is back in the 80s. So realize at this time, nobody was coming home with more than like 10 grand in a game show. The most amount of money won on Press Your Luck. And I'm sorry for talking so much about this. One of my favorite American stories. I love the little guy who goes after the big corporation. I absolutely love it. At this time, the most amount of money ever won on Press Your Luck was $24,000. And it only happened once. It never, like that was not a thing. That was a very rare. $24,000 was the most everyone ever won on Press Your Luck. Michael Larson went on the show and he took them for $110,000.
I love it. Get it, boy.
That's
so good.
They had to split the show up into 2 shows because he just kept going.
I love it.
And they couldn't figure out what he was doing. And he just kept hitting the same 2 spots over and over and over again. And they couldn't do anything about it. He wasn't cheating. He just figured out the trick.
I love it, dude. Oh my.
So they made a movie about this, but it's like I guess it's a smaller film. So the only theater playing it near me, we have about 4 or 5 theaters on Staten Island, but the only theater playing it was the Alamo. So I'm like, all right, I got to go check this out. So that's why I got to check out my first Alamo, and I got to watch that movie. But it's a really good story. If you get a chance to go in and take a look at it, it's really, really, really good. I love it.
What did you think of the policy that the Alamo has where they're like, if people are bothering you, raise a flag and we'll boot them out? Like, did you like the pre-show stuff and like the kind of commitment to making the viewing experience a great one?
Dustin, I live in New York City. Okay, we don't snitch on each other. If I have a problem with if I have a problem with somebody, I go up to them directly and tell them. Okay, I'm not writing shit down on a card and pressing a little button and waiting for a little waitress to come on over and sorry sir, can you take it? Like, no, if I have a problem, I live on Staten Island. What do you think we do here? Like, what do you think I would do in the theater if somebody was really bothering me?
Hey, I'm cinematizing here.
It's funny. I didn't know about the whole pre-show thing until I got there, so I thought that was really interesting. It was playing all these old ads from like the 80s and 90s. I was like, wow. I was like, this is different. I'm like, it's always cool.
In the theme of the movie. So because the story is set back in the 80s, they found other like adjacent stuff to kind of put you in the right headspace for what you were about to watch in the film. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was real. I like the way they did that. No, I in all seriousness though, I think that's great that they have a way to discreetly, have a way to notify people if there's some person causing a disturbance in the theater.
Yeah.
They have a way to notify people. That's good for people who need that.
I
That
have to
person's
tell
not
you
me.
about our Alamo Drafthouse. So it's great.
Tell me
and
you wrote it on the card. Tell me you wrote it on the card, Dustin.
No, I don't need to write on the card. We just go at to movies that jerks don't want to watch. Therefore, I don't have to worry about them being in the movie. But the bar that you just told us about, the bar that's all Wu-Tang, the guillotine, ours is called, John, are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
It's called the Bear versus Bull. Okay, and there's two statues out front. There's a statue of a bear and a bull, and they both have boxing gloves on. Now, the story about why this bar is called the Bear versus the Bull is super important. Back when San Francisco was a gold rush, the Mission was a very popular place for bars, and they used to actually make animals fight. Okay, now I'm not a fan of this, but it is part of history, so it's important that we acknowledge it. They used to get California grizzly bears, and they made them fight against bulls. So you literally have bears fighting against bulls and the Mission, and that's how the bar got its name. Can you believe that?
That's insane, man. Wow.
That's like insane. The best UFC video you ever saw, bull versus bear.
I would love to see that. That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. So when you come to San Francisco eventually, we'll go check out a bear versus bull.
But when you come to Staten Island, we are definitely checking out the guillotine.
Yeah. I want to go. I want to see all of those old Shaw Brothers. Like the Wu-Tang Clan was inspired by the Shaw Brothers, who are the guys, the producers who made all those old time movies with the mouths that don't sync up, right? The Five Deadly Films, which is very major influence on Wu-Tang. That was the Shaw Brothers. If they've got like movie posters from all those, I 1000% want to see that. I'm really glad that.
We got to do it. It was a really cool experience to see for sure.
Yeah. All right, now we're starting to run a little bit long here, John, but this is the last pod until the cruise. And so you've been doing so much work to get us ready. There's so many things. Everybody's excited. It looks like we got 100+ people going to be on this cruise now.
Yes.
It's insanity. I guess we can't promote the cruise because I don't think anybody can get on the boat at this point, but we'll still have a good time without you is all I can say. Watch Insiders for photos. That's about all I can say.
I mean, I'm really, really, really blessed and excited for everybody that's coming down. Dustin, especially, you're coming down, pretty much straight from Japan to be here and be part of this. And you're one of the first people to sign up and booked and really believe in this idea that I had. So I'm really, really, really happy and blessed that you're coming, man. So I cannot thank you enough for being there. I cannot thank everybody enough who's taking a chance on this idea. I would say it's about 85% of people who are coming on this Roosevelt's cruise. It's their first ever cruise, and that blows my mind. How many people who are just taking this chance really to be with others and just check out this idea. So people don't even know if they like cruising. They don't even know what it's like. And they're taking this big chance, and it scares the shit out of me. But I really hope everyone enjoys themselves. The boat is mostly sold out, so I don't really think you can even book a ticket anymore. There is going to be lots of pictures and videos from all the different events that we have going on. And I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO. If I've done my job right, anyone who's sitting at home and is looking at what we're doing on this ship is really going to be sitting there saying, I really should have booked that cruise. That is my overall goal. Yeah. But I definitely can't. The next time I'm going to talk to you is going to be on the boat. And so we will definitely record an episode from the ship, and so we can just talk about everything that's going on. But I'm really excited for everybody to see the things that I have in store. A couple of little surprises that I have up my sleeve, and we're really all going to have a good time for sure.
Love it. I'm very excited. I'm telling you right now what the podcast title for the boat it's going to be. Oh ship. Awesome. Well, we will then see you, John, down in Fort Lauderdale in a couple of weeks. And thanks again to everybody who's supported, commented, and liked. Please, we're trying to make this goal of 500 subs. Help us any way you can. If you've got an idea, drop us a message, wearablefandom@gmail.com. We love taking your information and insights. We will action on them as best we can. But it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Cannot wait till
it's going to be May.
It's going to be great. So, yeah, I think that's it for us, John. So we'll sign off here. Until next time, everyone. Where
mighty things.
So long, everybody.
Yeah.